Jim Romer, Dr. Weather, going to be talking to you today about the Arctic pigs and how we caught the lows in heating oil and natural gas about 2 weeks ago. Weather Wealth clients, if they took my advice, could have easily paid for the service for several years in the matter of just a few days. Let's talk about this extreme cold weather. And if you like to ski, well, it's cold as heck. Look what's happening to people on chairlifts over parts of New England here. They don't even know how to ski. Look at this. See all that ice? Because of all the cold weather? Oh my goodness. We need some, look at that. We need some fresh powder. And the most snow is going to actually be over the Midwest, the Great Lakes, as well as the Pacific Northwest. The Arctic pig, folks, I coined this expression about 20 to 30 years ago. Talked about an ozone hole back in late December, early January, as well as a weak La Nina finally forming with implications for the grain market. So stay with me next spring and summer. This ozone hole forming up in the stratosphere about 30 to 40 miles up in space is one of the reasons why we actually called for this cold outbreak. Look at this, 3 weeks ago, 498. That is incredibly cold, dense cold air. The lower the number, the colder the air. I saw this 3 weeks ago. Look at that white there. And to the left, stratospheric winds are weakening. The winds at 30 to 40 miles up in the atmosphere are weakening, which means it pushes the polar vortex to the south. And indeed, that's exactly what we've been talking about in our newsletter here the last few weeks, folks, talking about this Arctic pig, the biggest cold outbreak in close to 30 years. As you can see, temperatures early on this coming week, well below zero, the coldest in many, many years. Wills freezing for natural gas. After recent bearish EIA numbers, we're looking at potential draws of over 250 million BCFs or even higher over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So unless the forecast changes toward a little bit warmer, the market will stay in uptrend in natural gas and potentially heating oil. Of course, markets don't go straight up, and that's what we do at Weather Wealth is teach you how to trade options and futures. Here are our recent recommendations about 2 weeks ago, calling the breakout in heating oil there on the right of your screen above resistance. We've had about a 10 to 15% rally, as well as in natural gas prices. Of course, any slight change in the forecast, and I'll be getting my clients out or hedging long positions. So some of the caveats as to whether or not it will stay cold in February as well. If it doesn't, we'll see a major collapse in some of these energy markets. Is the MJO, a disturbance around the globe that rotates every 30 to 60 days, is going to phase 5 from a cold phase 3 there, you see, as we get into February. Will things warm up? Will there be a collapse in natural gas? Again, that's what we do with our strategies. One trade alone, like being long natural gas calls or short puts or futures here the last 2 weeks, pays for the newsletter for 5 to 6 years, though, of course, past performance is not indicative of future results. So what are we looking at right now for the month of February? I'm looking at the MJO. I'm looking at a weak La Nina. I'm looking at stratospheric warming. Look at that in red to the right, 30 to 40 miles up in space. And the overall trend for my Climate Predict program that I tend to out forecast models that tend to be slow to react is for cold weather over the Northeast, well below normal at times over the Midwest and the plains, warm in the South. So after these wells freeze here the next 4 or 5 days, things could begin to improve in February in the southern U.S. And that's going to have implications on many of these markets. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, had a 2 week free trial period yet, you're mad. See what that little fellow's doing there on the left? I don't want to say exactly what he's doing, but it says 1989. One of my analog years from a month ago for the month of January into February. Cold weather. Get a 2 week free trial period at Weather Wealth. Also talk about the grain markets, soft commodities from cocoa to corn and soybeans, and South American weather as well. Enjoy.